Awesome. This is the interview. We're here in Sydney with new Vision Joinery. I got Matt and Dave, and they're going to share with us who they are, what they've done, and how New Vision came to be.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, JP. Yes, so me and Maddie, obviously pretty rare, I believe, in this day and age, but I've actually been working together since we were very young. I think it's been 25 years. We started our apprenticeships together, so first year apprentices, and basically have been working side by side for that whole time, pretty much. And then, almost 9 years ago, we started New Vision Joinery together, and it's been a lot of ups and downs, navigating through COVID and a lot of things, but eventually and essentially we ended up on top, I believe, and with a lot of hard work, a lot of doing things the wrong way, doing some things the right way, and paying for a lot of mistakes and a lot of painful lessons, but it's all brought us to where we are today, and I think which is an awesome spot. So focusing now on high-end joinery and boutique stuff, and where we get to use a lot of different things and timbers and glass and different finishes and upholstery and putting it all together, and I think that's where we found our little niche where we're really good at, where what excites us and about the type of jobs that we like to do, and so no end in sight at the moment, which is
so good. 9 years ago when you got together and said we're going to do this on our own, what was the catalyst for change?
Where we were working at the time was a big joinery factory and manufacturer, and they had plenty of work on previous to where we were kind of winding up, and it just wasn't really working anymore. The wheels were falling off, so Dave and I made a decision to kind of step away from it before the wheels did fall off completely. So we had an opportunity to take over something that was already operating out of the factory that we're sitting in now. It wasn't the best setup, but Dave and I kind of knew we could get in there and make it our own, and that's what we've done.
There's two things I loved about you guys. The first one was the partnership, and was it ever planned that you would do something together, or was it 25 years, and so 15 years before you get to your 9, where you're just like, we trust one another, it was natural evolution, or was there a plan before?
No, I think it's just sitting next to each other for so long, it was just a progression. But I can't say it wasn't calculated, it was just at the time we were both in the same position, and we had the opportunity to either ride it till the wheels fell off where we were. Sure. And we could have done that, like some other people did, and nothing bad happened to them. They just stayed to the end and then went and did something different. But Dave and I kind of didn't want to be in that position, and thought, now's the time to try something different, and back ourselves and each other and go for it.
And so you had a choice to make, and you took the more difficult one, I guess, at the time, which was to do your own thing.
Yeah, essentially. So it was a bit scary and daunting at the start, obviously, and no one tells you, all the ins and outs of running a business. It's, you learn probably 10% of it, and then, the other 90% you figure out once you're in the seat, and, when the buck stops with you, and when you're the one paying for all the mistakes, then you learn pretty quick. It was a huge learning curve, but even still today, I don't consider ourselves anywhere close to being an expert or anything, even after 25 years in the trade, but it's constant evolution, constantly learning, constantly trying to improve and get better and evolve, and so I think that's been our philosophy, and I think that's what's helped us from day one, is never assuming that we were the smartest or the best or knew how to do something the right way. We were always open to new ideas and learning and evolving constantly, and I think that's what's kind of brought us to where we are today.
You said there's lots of mistakes and lots of learning over those 9 years. What's some of those mistakes that lead you into having to rely more on software and saying there's got to be a better way, we're doing something wrong, we can improve this? What happens over 9 years? You're like, crap, we've got to find a better solution.
Yeah, well, Jobman was something that got introduced to us quite early on by Aaron, and we saw it, and it was very in the infancy stage, and we thought there was potential there, but it wasn't quite ready for us. Fast forward a few years later, Aaron came and did another presentation to us, and we were both kind of blown away by it at that stage. It had evolved a lot since then, and we were then ready to jump on board.
Was that version 1 or 2?
That was version 1, Jobman.
So you've been on since the very beginning?
Yeah, very beginning. Then essentially then we could see, because essentially for us we're very heavy on management and scheduling, and I think having that efficiency in the business is very important. So we could see the value that Jobman could bring to the business. And once we saw that second reiteration of it with Aaron, we were both convinced that it was definitely worth jumping on board, and we did that. And that was 3 to 4 years ago. We've been paying a subscription, and it was sitting idly doing nothing.
And Aaron did ring multiple times and prompted us to get involved and start getting the training, and we'll get onto it soon.
And so you sign up for software in 2022. And you pay a subscription for something you don't use, which is not uncommon.
Yeah. And
then what happened? I mean, I remember a phone call back in October where you call me and say, we need your help to make this happen. But what happens in the lead up to October where you call and say, we're getting busier, my partner's getting busier? What gets you to that point where you say, oh, fuck, I can't delay this anymore. Like, we need this now.
It's like what we said before, by leaving a place where the wheels were falling off. It was not that they were falling off, but they were rattling. They were under a lot of strain, and you could tell that between the both of us. And we're very close. We talk a lot every day. About the business mainly, and there's always something going on. We're bouncing stuff between each other. So I could tell that Dave is looking after more of the sales and stuff, and Jobman is going to be great for the leads and everything else. So I knew how good the tool could be if we could get ourselves to use it, but getting ourselves to learn it in time was not going to happen unless we said we have to do it. And there was a presentation on at the convention centre here in Sydney, and Aaron had sent me a link to it, and I signed up for it. I did ask Dave, do you want to come, but he was too busy.
Okay.
And it was great. I said, that's fine, I'll go. And I took my wife along at the time so that she could help us with some of the back end stuff. And that was where I was introduced to yourself, JP, and the introduction that I had to yourself was one that I was quite pleased to be there and sit through. You got up and did a presentation and told everyone
my first one.
What you were about. It was
interesting.
Yeah. I could tell you were a bit nervous at the time.
Yeah, extremely.
But obviously I was the first person to put my hand up and say, hey, I need some help when you offered it, and I wrote my name down on a piece of paper, and you called me a couple of weeks later, which was great because it's exactly what we needed. And then you introduced us to your team at Empire Blueprint, and from there we've done nothing but build and build and build, and that was how many months ago?
What did I say in my first speech without knowing that resonated to you back in June of last year?
It was more just about how your team could help us implement the systems that we needed, which we know we need, but we can't do it ourselves. It was to me that was perfect, because it's exactly what I wanted to hear, because I knew if it was left for David and myself to do it, we'd still be paying the subscription.
Do you sincerely believe, for anybody watching this, that you'd already paid it for 3 years, that it really would have just dragged for that much longer?
Yeah,
do you really believe that to be true?
I think now being this deep into the process with yourself with Empire Blueprint, I'm convinced that we would have never have gotten beyond scratching the surface of the capabilities of Jobman without having someone like Empire Blueprint setting it up for us, because seeing how much is involved in the back-end setup and everything, and the software Jobman is amazing, but it requires a depth of knowledge and a huge amount of time to get it to where it needs to be, where it's functional in the business. And I can't honestly think of any joiner who has that depth of knowledge and time to do that and implement it to its full capacity in a business. I don't know any joiner that could do it. So I believe that anyone that's using it, just setting it up on their own, unless they by some magical have some whiz working for them, they're only going to use it at the surface level and no deeper than that. So
definitely have to stop a resource to implement that.
And so if you could say one thing to somebody who's walked your path and is currently on that, where they've bought it and they're just like, what do I do next? What would you suggest to them?
Seek that help, because the help's there for a reason. They've done it multiple times, and we're now a testament to that. We've seen it happen from the start to where we are today, and again, we're still learning. We're not experts at it, and I doubt we ever will be, because it's a bit too in depth for ourselves. But from what we've learned just in the short amount of time that we have been given the reins to it, it's you can tell it's going to be massive. Our team's excited to use it now, that they've seen a little bit of it as well, and we're very lucky that we have a great team of people around us who are all willing and wanting to use it. It's great.
Just a note of credit to you guys. Like, I've seen now 12 or 13 businesses since October, and I'd have to say there's two things that have stood out, and I probably said this in the beginning. Number one, the partnership. I remember getting your phone call in October, and when I asked you why, I was really big on the why. and you said because the other half, my business partner, needs the help. He's working 16, 18 hours a day. He's there, like he needs the help. And so I remember distinctly hanging up and saying, I like that guy because the care and consideration for one another was enormous. And every time I've spoken to you, it's been amazing to see. So that care factor to me has been something out of the planet. Second to that is the efficiency that you run with for an awesome size operation with minimal staff. And the fact that you still want to be more efficient. How the hell did you become so efficient without a system?
I don't know. I think we're just naturally
Because it's
those
awesome.
kind of people. We both just hate being inefficient. Like time is everything to us. You know, we're here every day that we need to be here, for every hour and every minute. But we also have young families, and
Yes.
it's massive for us. We're both very heavily involved with the kids and the sports, and our wives as well. You know, like they're everything. So we're
Yes.
doing it all for them, and we can't wait to get home to share that time with them.
And Maddie, talk to me about this. Talk to me about the roller coaster of emotions you and I have gone on.
Oh, nice.
From not sure to overwhelmed to feeling okay and everything else in between. Talk to somebody who's thinking, yeah, I don't have time, or I wouldn't know where to begin, about that kind of emotional roller coaster. And maybe you've seen it as well, where he's sat there and you've seen the ups and downs with the intense learning, and then how does that manifest in one, and how do you manage that in a business that's still running a day-to-day operation?
Yeah, look, I think you were a big catalyst for that, to reinforce that it's not, you can't break it, like just use it.
Go for it.
And that's exactly what I needed to hear, and I didn't believe you at the start, to be honest.
Okay, you didn't?
I didn't know, because I was like, I'm gonna get something done here that I can't fix, or
So when
it's not
Empire
gonna
Blueprint's
work.
telling you, hey, just take
Yeah,
action and do the thing,
Just go for it.
what are you telling yourself?
I'm telling myself, look, there's so many things here that I need to know. How am I going to do all of these things? And I'm looking at it very overwhelmed, because there's a lot
course.
of steps and tasks. But when you break it down, you're already doing all of that work already. You're now just ticking it off to say that it's done, or you're assigning it to somebody else. And that's the system's built for that.
That's awesome.
And the training that you guys are providing us is, it's there for that reason, to make us better and confident.
And despite the depth of knowledge, do you think we and my team have done a great job of trying to break it down and simplify the process for you so it's not too taxing as an individual?
Yeah, definitely. Like Dave mentioned, like there's no way that the two of us could have sat there and built a workflow from start to finish for every process of how the business runs the way it does. Like, you can tell it's probably in Dave's head how all the sales side runs, and in my head more the production and the scheduling. But having it all now in front of you on paper, it's now making it easier to train and implement other people into the system, so that they can assist and take some of that stuff away from us who are drowning in work sometimes.
And when we first meet, we obviously come on for Jobman stuff, and I said to you, because of the partnership and because of how much you care for one another, I'm going to extend some of our other services, which is those tools and that lead conversion and that streamlining of the process and other automations. Talk to us and anybody watching how that might change and what that's done for you to be using those tools and seeing those automations today.
Yeah.
That you're able to input data one time only, and it flows through where it's going to go. That was something both you and I didn't expect when we started in October.
No, of course not. No. So there's obviously all these extra things that we've spoken about, or something that I've said to you that would help David, and you've just gone and built something and sent it back to me and David, and we're like, wow, this is amazing, because it is literally going to save us time and make us streamline a process that we've been doing, right or wrong, but now we're going to do it a bit quicker and more efficiently. And in saying that, it's created an app now for in this day and age, everyone's excited to use.
Did you ever think you'd have an app for your business
No, not at
that
all.
we would extend to you as just like as out of here you go, like you need this? And
No.
how do you feel? Because you didn't expect that, right? We didn't expect that.
No, exactly. The evolution through it has been great, and we're 9 years in and only kind of just now getting a website, even. You know what I mean? So to think about having an app and all these other things was not even a thought on the page. So also the evolution of it and how it's going to integrate into our company and what we've seen so far is really exciting for us to see. How much time we're going to get back, and all that dead time
That's so good.
of repetitive tasks and things. That's all going to we can see now that it's going to diminish over the time as we implement it deeper into the business, and I think that's exciting.
And so
for
where
us.
to next? If we've done this in 3 months and we're delivering more than we anticipated as well, I can rightfully say that. What do we see next on the horizon for New Vision with Jobman and with Empire Blueprint? What's up and coming?
Look, I think for myself, there's today we've gone through half of what we can do with Jobman, you know, and what Empire Blueprint can provide for New Vision Joinery. Like we've discussed, you know, the ongoing support, and we're definitely going to need it, so I'll be putting my hand up for that. But yeah, what we've achieved in one day being together, I find for me personally, like I need that. Doing the phone calls and the video calls is great, but I'm a person-to-person person. I prefer to do it, you know, one-on-one, and obviously you can't do that for every occasion. But while we were building it and going through the process, I think having those calls weekly was good to reiterate to me that you're going in the right direction. If you have any questions, please call me, reach out. I'm always available, and that is what I needed, 100%. And moving forward, like to get into the other parts of Jobman that, you know, we haven't even scratched the surface of yet, being the purchasing and doing all the invoicing and quoting from there. That's definitely something that Dave and I want to use to its full potential. So,
and then as we're talking about Jobman, you tell me there's marketing stuff, website stuff, there's all these other ideas that have spawned or been born from one simple idea, which was just let's get Jobman up and running. And Dave, you take to it really well now, where you're the one coming up with the ideas because it saves you time. You're excited about stuff that is outside of Jobman that EB is creating from nothing to save your time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, efficiency for us is the key, because it means there's no wasted time and no one has time to waste anymore. So anything that we can implement, things that we've started to brainstorm that we can see is now possible on the back of Jobman and what Empire Blueprint can do for us. So we're excited about all these little other things and ideas that we've come up with, and things that are going to just make things a lot more streamlined and efficient for us, and not just for us but also for our clients and people that we work with as well. Have information a lot more accessible and easy, and not have to go through multiple people, and direct sourcing, you know, having direct lines to information, and, you know, making all those routes a lot shorter and faster, meaning there's less time wasted everywhere and unnecessary emails and all that type of stuff. So yeah, we're really looking forward to implementing, you know, our full scope and vision, you know, with Empire Blueprint for us over the coming months and years, and see where it can get us.
Sometimes clients tell me, well, that sounds too dear, well, that's going to take too long. From your own experience now, what would you say to them that say, well, I just don't get it? What could you say about Empire? Just like,
to me, the old saying, you know, time is money, and for us, our time is very important, but sometimes feel that our time is not valuable to other people, and it gets chewed up very quickly from, you know, multiple things, and it could be very minor interruptions that people, once they can find that information, being in Jobman or having something that Empire Blueprint's built for us to help streamline those avenues, it's priceless.
That's it, gents. Any closing remarks?
No, just a big thank you to JP and the team at Empire Blueprint. Again, it's been a journey, and we see that going much further than where it is now. But yeah, we look forward to it, and
thank you so much.
Can't wait for the next stage.
Yeah. Anyone who's thinking about getting Jobman, honestly, just go straight to Empire Blueprint and get beyond just the surface level of Jobman, because unless you're a wizard, then yeah, I'll be shocked if anyone gets beyond that level.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks.